When Claire first said those words, I thought it had to be a cruel joke. She didn't even look at me. Her eyes stayed glued to her phone, thumbs flying across the screen as if I wasn't even there. No kissing. No hugging. No touching, she declared flatly. At first, I laughed, waiting for her to smirk and tell me she was kidding. But the silence that followed was heavy, like a wall closing in on me. My smile faded as reality crept in, sharp, suffocating. For a moment, I couldn't even respond. Claire had once been warm, overflowing with affection. She used to wrap her arms around me when I came home, kiss me goodnight without fail, and reach for my hand whenever we sat together on the couch. But that woman was gone, replaced by someone I could hardly recognize. The fire we had built together had burned down to cold ashes. "Are you serious?" I whispered. She let out an exaggerated sigh, as if the simple act of answering me was exhausting. "I'm tired," she said without lifting her eyes. "I don't feel like it anymore. Let's just live as we are. No kissing, no hugging, no touching. It's easier this way." Easier for who? Certainly not for me. I swallowed the hurt, convincing myself it was just stress, maybe fatigue from her new job. People go through phases, right? But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and nothing changed. The distance between us grew into a chasm I couldn't cross. I tried everything, dinners out, fresh flowers, little trips to spark some joy again. She shot every attempt down with icy indifference, treating me like a stranger trying to sell her something she didn't want. The woman who once laughed at my awful jokes and curled against me during rainy nights was gone, replaced by unbearable silence. The breaking point came one Sunday morning. I was in the kitchen, making coffee while sorting through a stack of bills. Rent was due. The gas bill had spiked. The fridge was nearly empty. I placed everything neatly on the counter, waiting for her to come downstairs so we could talk. When she finally appeared, hair a mess, phone glued to her hand, I gently said, "Claire, we need to talk about the bills." Without looking up, she muttered, "You handle them. You always do." And something inside me snapped. Her indifference, her detachment, her refusal to share even the smallest parts of her life, it all came crashing down. If she could impose rules in this house, then so could I. "You don't want kissing, hugging, or touching?" I said evenly.
"Fine."
"Then no rent, no gas, no groceries." That got her attention. Her eyes widened, her mouth opening in shock. For the first time in months, she realized I wasn't going to quietly accept her terms anymore. "What did you just say?" she snapped. "You heard me," I replied, my voice steady. "If this marriage is a contract where you can erase intimacy, then I can erase responsibility." Her phone slipped from her hand onto the counter with a dull thud. The only sound after that was the hum of the refrigerator. Then she crossed her arms and scoffed. "You're being dramatic." "Am I?" I asked. "You've shut me out completely, Claire. No affection, no connection, no love. Tell me, what exactly am I paying for here? Because right now, it feels like I'm living with a roommate who doesn't even acknowledge me." Her lips tightened, but she said nothing. The silence spoke louder than words. It told me everything I needed to know. That week, I acted on my words. When rent was due, I didn't transfer the money. The fridge, once stocked, was nearly empty except for condiments and a lone carton of milk. I stopped filling her car with gas.
I didn't yell.
I didn't argue. I just stopped giving what she had always taken for granted. At first, she pretended she wasn't bothered. She ordered takeout, paid for her own gas, and glared at me coldly, as if daring me to back down. But by the end of the week, her patience began to crack. One evening, she stormed into the living room, where I sat calmly reading a book. "This is ridiculous," she shouted. "You're punishing me because I don't want to touch you. That's pathetic." I closed the book and looked straight into her eyes. "No, Claire. I'm holding you accountable. Marriage is supposed to be about give and take. You've chosen only to take. I've chosen not to give. That's the reality." For the first time in a long while, something flickered in her eyes. Fear, maybe even regret. Her voice softened to a whisper. You can't just turn everything off like that. I leaned forward, steady and calm. Why not? You did. The weight of those words hung heavy in the air. She sank onto the couch, pride slipping from her shoulders. I didn't realize how far I'd pushed you, she admitted softly, her voice carrying a vulnerability I hadn't heard in months. For a while, we sat in silence. Not the cold, suffocating silence of before, but a fragile one, delicate and uncertain, like glass that could shatter with a single wrong word. Then, almost hesitantly, she reached out, her hand resting on the cushion between us. It wasn't much, but it was something. I didn't take it immediately. Part of me longed to hold her hand, to feel that connection again. Another part of me wanted her to sit in that emptiness, to finally understand the void she had left me drowning in. Finally, I spoke. Claire, I don't need perfection. I just need a partner. If you can't give me that, then whatever this is, it's over. Her eyes welled with tears as she nodded. I'll try, she whispered. Maybe it was real. Maybe it was too late. But in that moment, one thing was certain. I had found my voice again. I would no longer beg for scraps of affection while carrying the weight of everything else. If she couldn't face that truth, then I was ready to walk away.